guys, this is NASCAR fan 2015 back with another NASCAR review, and this one is on Ryan Reed getting to start the October race at Talladega. As obviously, if you haven't heard, Ryan Reed will be piloting the number 99 Lilly Diabetes Ford Fusion at the Talladega race in October, which is a chase race, obviously. So this will be Ryan Reed's first Cup start after, I think his first season was 2015. And, yeah, I mean, still a relatively young driver, and he has big name sponsor because of diabetes. And, I mean, his story's pretty heartfelt. You know, he could have never been in a race car again. So then, eventually he got better, and now he is probably going to be the next driver at Roush. So what I think about this is I don't really know. If you look at it, Ryan Reed hasn't done nothing in the Xfinity Series. I mean, if you look at it, he got that fluke win at Daytona where he got up where that whole wreck took out like all the fast cars, and then eventually some guy gave him a push, and he was able to get by, I think, Brad Keselowski and win Daytona. That's how he won that race. And so just because of that, he is in Roush Fenway's legacy books forever as probably one of the best Xfinity drivers that have ever been on that team, just for that one thing. So I don't think Ryan Reed's very deserving in this. And the only reason why I bet he's getting this ride, this opportunity, is because of Lilly Diabetes. They want to sponsor Ryan Reed in a race, and it's just, I mean, if you look at it, I think Darrell Wallace should be the next one in line for a Cup ride. He should be the next one. But the main issue is, like Chris Buescher had, with sponsorship. So that's probably why you probably won't see him get anything. I'd be surprised if Darrell Wallace even makes a Cup start with Roush, because there's no sponsorship on Darrell Wallace's car, and he just doesn't have the support like Ryan Reed does. And guess what? Darrell Wallace has been at this longer than Ryan Reed. I think he started his first start was like 2012. And he did really good in the Truck Series, 2013, 2014. I think he won like 5 races. And then he was forced to go to Roush. And because of that, now he's losing his ride to Ryan Reed, who has pretty much done nothing. I mean, nothing in his career besides that fluke Daytona win, which, like I said, shouldn't have happened. So I'm a little bit mad about that, because Ryan Reed's, and just, I really wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Reed ends a couple chasers' hopes at Talladega. I would not be surprised if Ryan Reed causes a big wreck and ends up costing someone a championship, or going to the round of 8 because he causes a wreck. I just think Talladega as your first Cup start isn't a great move. I mean, if you're going to start someone out, you start them at like a mile and a half like they did with Eric Jones, or maybe you start them out maybe even a short track like they did with Chase Elliott, or start them out maybe like Pocono or something. I think the 2 tracks that would be a disaster probably would be a road course, and that would be a terrible place to make your first start unless you're a road course ringer. And then after that, Daytona and Talladega, because that race is just chaos. I mean, I just think they should have started him. If you're going to pick a race, I would have started him at Charlotte. I mean, if you look at it, Charlotte is a mile and a half track. It's near I think Roush Fenway's shop is literally like 2 miles from Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I think it would just be easier to have this to have Ryan Reed's first race be like Charlotte or even Indianapolis. I mean, I get that's on the schedule, but Indy, I think, is like Lily Diabetes' hometown. That would have been a good place, but I'm thinking Roush was just trying to make the chase now. Now they're experimenting a bit, but I think this is kind of a stupid move. It's just probable. It's kind of useless. I mean, with plate racing, rookies can make mistakes, and also you're not really gaining anything. You're just in a pack. You like it with David Reagan and all those guys. You're just pretty much in the draft either way. So you're not going to really learn anything too much from restrictor plate racing, I don't think. I think if you would have put a rookie driver in a longer like mile and a half, that would have been the place. But I'm just kind of mad. Now, the paint scheme, I honestly like the paint scheme. That's the only good part. That car kind of reminds me of Carl Edwards' Office Depot car, which to me is just awesome. I mean, I kind of miss Carl Edwards running that red Office Depot, and I just miss Office Depot and NASCAR in general. So good to see some of those glory days at Roush kind of come back with that. Now, what could this start do for Ryan Reed? I think it's going to possibly make him Ryan Reed's probably the odds-on favorite to replace Greg Biffle, and I highly doubt. Greg Biffle's doing terrible. He is not even in the top 20 anymore. He has faded quickly off the map. He was like a consistent car 2012, 2013, then 2014 he squeaked into the chase. 2015 wasn't a threat. He was like 20th. And then this year he's like 25th. So he's falling off, and they could see this. And like I said, I even predicted Ryan Reed is going to that 16 in 2018 because of Lilly Diabetes sponsoring him. I mean, that's another thing that kind of gets me mad is that some people like Ryan Reed get sponsorship just because they have diabetes and they're automatically in Cup. I mean, I'm not insulting him. It's just I just hate when people just get sponsors and then they get a Cup ride when there's way more deserving people out there that don't get rides or they get terrible rides, because I can already tell Darrell Wallace is going to get a way worse ride than Ryan Reed just because he has no sponsorship. Even though I think Darrell Wallace would probably, I think if you put him in a top 10 equipment. We saw this at Kentucky where he was running near the front. If you just give him a good car, I think he could win. Surprised a lot of people, but no one's given Darrell Wallace a chance. Meanwhile, Ryan Reed's gotten some chances, and it seems like he's not running that well. So I'm just thinking probably we'll end up Ryan Reed. We'll get the next spot at Roush. I highly doubt. I think Roush Fenway is going to see this as a sponsorship opportunity. You have Chris Buescher. They have Chris Buescher in front row. Who cares? Who really cares? If Roush Fenway's making money off of this, they're making money from Lilly Diabetes being sponsorship, saying we're going to sponsor the whole season. They're not going to turn that down. Even if it was put Ryan Reed and have a 25th place car, but have full sponsorship, or have Chris Buescher, who could possibly win, get in the chase, but doesn't have sponsorship. Guess what? They're gonna pick Ryan Reed, and Chris Buescher probably would outperform him in Cup. So I'm just thinking Ryan Reed's gonna go to the 16. Roush is gonna suck even more. I mean, Trevor Bayne, Ricky Stenhouse have been okay. They just struggling. I think Ryan Reed's just going to pull them further down the tube in NASCAR. And it's just going to suck. And it's just proving that I'm just sickened that Brian Scott got a Cup ride I don't know what Richard Petty was thinking when he decided to pick Brian Scott for the second car. I mean, he's over here. I'm not a big fan of Danica either, but he's sitting there complaining about Danica and how she can't race when Brian Scott can't race for his life. He's like 33rd on the racetrack every week. He's not even close to the top 30 in points. I think that Regan Smith, David Reagan, I think they're higher than him in points. And remember, this Richard Petty Motorsports is a team that made the chase in 2014, almost did in 2015. And I think Eric Almirola is fine. He deserved his ride, I think. But Brian Scott, let's see. I can think of a couple drivers that are way more deserving than Brian Scott. You got Alex Bowman, Landon Castle. You have Matt DiBenedetto. You have Regan Smith at the time. You have just a whole ton of drivers. I'll name, a couple drivers. Like Ryan Sieg could probably do better. Blake Cook. I mean, that there is a sponsorship deal with Leaf Filler, and you get a driver that doesn't wreck every race. That could have been a good fit. And then you got a couple other drivers with uncertain futures. And yet we decided let's pick Brian Scott and just completely destroy Richard Petty Motorsports. So I'm just sickened by some of these drivers that get into NASCAR that have no talent. They're not even running up front. They're not improving. If you see some improvement, that means something's right. But when drivers decline or show no involvement, I mean, I think with like some of the drivers, it might be speed, but I just think Brian Scott he wrecks every week, so it's sickening, and so we'll just have to see. So overall, in the end, the Ryan Reed moves just a gimmick to get for Lilly Diabetes to sponsor a cup race. That's the whole operation. They're not, if that sponsorship wouldn't have came through, Ryan Reed wouldn't be in this situation right now, getting a cup ride for Roush. And it's just, I don't see any benefits out of this move at all, except maybe getting to say, oh, this was Ryan Reed will say, this is my first start at Talladega. I probably caused the big one and got a lot of chasers mad at me, but it's my first start, so we'll have to see what happens. Maybe he'll be slightly better than I thought. Maybe he'll get a top 20, but who knows? So that's the end of the video, guys. So the poll question is, what do you think of this move? Is it good? Is it bad? Should Darrell Wallace be getting an opportunity instead of Ryan Reed? And the second one, we're gonna see who everyone thinks is gonna get the 16 car, because Greg Biffle's not gonna be in this sport any longer. He's just dying out. So that's the end of the video, guys. So if you like this video, give it a like. Like me on Facebook, NASCAR Racing Fan YouTube, and NASCAR Thanks news page. Subscribe for more videos, and this is NASCAR Racing Fan 2015, signing out.